code. Action.
So this here is the HTML, which basically creates this page here. So it's pretty simple. Well, not simple, but that's just how it works. So HTML, as we were just talking about earlier, is hypertext markup language. So that's what we define right at the top here. So doc type is HTML. So if you were doing something like PHP or XML, it would be XML there instead. So that's telling the browser and other things like that that it's HTML. And then we have a HTML tag, and then there's the end tag there. So that's where all of your HTML goes in within those tags. And then within that, we've got a header, which has the title. So the title is this up here, or what displays in the browser, in the tab. And then here we've got metadata, which is mainly used for search engines and things like that. So we've got descriptions, so that's description, keywords and author, so they're kind of self-explanatory, but that's what they do. So search engines look for that. And then also in the header we have links to CSS style sheets. So that's where you put your kind of styles, the colour of something, the positioning, and if you're doing a responsive site, you'd have that in a style sheet as well. And then we've got an end tag. So it's also always important to have end tags as well, because otherwise that causes a lot of problems, and it won't be valid as well, because you should validate it. And then we also have a body tag, so this is where the main bulk of your code is going to be, your content will be in the body here. So then here we've just got a list of different headings. So these are kind of H1 to 6, just things that browsers and the internet understands. So you don't even need that in your CSS style sheet. But again, this is what they look like here. And then if you're going to do a paragraph, you use P tags, which is quite simple. And then we also, to do bolding, you use B tags. And here we've got some links, which you use an A tag, which is an anchor. You can also put class on that, which then the classes and things like that, they all go back to the CSS. So let me find an example. So this footer here has a class of footer, and then this then reads to here. So the dot says it's a class, because you can also have IDs, but I won't go into that. So that means that I can then have a load of different styles, different formats and colours on the footer that will only affect anything that has the class of footer. Hopefully that kind of makes a bit of sense. So if you're doing a link, it's href equals, and then you do, what's that, speech marks. So then you should always make sure you have HTTP, otherwise it will go to this directory and then Google or whatever you put in there. So that tells it that it is somewhere in the internet. And then if you target _blank, that opens it in a new tab or a new window rather than replacing it in the browser. But then if you did want to replace it in the browser, say you're linking to another page, you wouldn't use a target at all. It would just be href, and then the reference to where our page is within the file structure, which is right here. So it's reading from here to here, basically. Then we just got a footer there, div or a footer, paragraph tag, and then that's just a kind of copyright symbol. You can look these, there's loads of little symbols and things you can use instead of using images because it's quicker to load. And then we've got end tags there. And then also, so if I can link to, yeah, so it's another page. Oh, I haven't opened it. It's got a little bit more on it. Got some dogs on it, which is us developers like to use animals. So this is using an image tag instead, which is just img, and then instead of using href, it's using the src, which I'm not really sure what that's. Source, that's the one. And then it's pointing to the images folder, and then slash dog.png, which is what this is. And then we've also got alt text and title, which is for kind of like screen readers, and in case the image doesn't load, it will appear with that text instead. And then I've also got a class on this image called right, and this makes this go to the right, because in here I've just made it float to the right. So most things are kind of quite logical, so like floating to the right and kind of little things like that. They kind of, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, see what I mean? And then yeah, so that's kind of basics of how to do it. And then there's like kind of carriage returns as well, which you can use instead of p tags, but you often use it to break up kind of between images and things like that. Yeah.
Any questions? Any feedback? Really good, interesting. What's interesting also, in that code, the space returns have no relationship to what it would look like graphically, visually. That's the thing to get your head around as well.
I've tried to lay it out quite
nicely. So you could have even had more spaces, and what it represents on the other side would stay the same.
No, it's all the XML.
HTML doesn't sort of see spaces or carriage returns. Yeah. Do you want to say a little bit more about the classes? Does everyone get what you meant by that?
I didn't know how to go into too much detail about that.
I was wondering how many people have come across that, what that means.
It's kind of just doing margins and you can
attributes, grouping them together.
You can also add things.
What are we looking at? What are we watching this in? What is this?
Oh, this is Text Wrangler.
Text Wrangler, yeah. That's what we use with the site.
Which is a free editor. But you can also just use things like Notepad anyway.
That's right.
But this kind of gives you colouring, which is easier to see. And then, so you can even add things to tags. So like the body tag here has got the background image. So that's this image here. And then we've got it so it doesn't repeat, and then it covers the background, so that's making it so it's like 100%, so it's kind of a little bit responsive. And then is why it kind of has all of these, is because these refer to different web browsers, because they all have their own kind of protocols and stuff. So WebKit kind of stands for like Safari and iOS and all that. Moz stands for Mozilla, so that's Firefox. O is for Opera. And there's also another one, MS, which is for Microsoft stuff, which I haven't put in there. But yeah, that's that one.
He's making the point that you would need as a developer to cover those different aspects, because people watch the web on many different browsers.
Yeah.
That's something you have to factor in. And likewise, I mean, in that code you could also have other attributes like the background image. If you wanted it to bleed at the edge, that would be another command you put in. So really it's like a text-based version of what you're seeing, but there's certain sort of phrases that crop up that, you know, that you can, once you get to know it, you know it, but it's like learning, it is like learning a language really, the float. If you want something to go on the side, you go float left, float right, there's a you know, a text command for everything that you see really.
There's also kind of like hover states as well.
Obviously, yeah.
So this A means anything that's a link, basically an app that's got an anchor tag, and then this is when you hover, it changes to red, and then when it's visited, it also goes back to this colour here, because otherwise it would just use the default kind of colours, which are those funny blue and purple. So you kind of want it to match with your site.
Good point. Everyone know what those numbers are?
Hex
Hex
code.
decimal.
Yeah, hex colours.
Yeah.
But you can also just put in red, and then they're kind of like web safe colours, I think. But then that's going to be different for every browser
Yeah.
and computer, whereas if you put in a hex colour, then it should be the same. Should be the same.
Should be the
It's
same.
not always.
Yeah. Does everyone get that? Yeah. Must have some questions. The key thing is, I think he's already covered it, is that if it's a paragraph tag, it has to have one at the beginning, and then one at the end. You must also begin and close.
I haven't done italics, but that's quite simple. That's just an article. That's just RA.
This is this. Can't really read, but this is all of this.
Oh, that's pretty, yeah. So now this is italic.
See that? Yeah. It's just made a change by change up here. Good coders know this language sort of.
I still have to look up things.
Yeah, no, most people do. I mean, people that really eat, live and breathe it could just. You're right.
Yeah, who's got to say something?
Huh?
Who's going to say something?
What was that?
I was just wondering, when you open the program, you type it up a bit. Is there like a template when you open the program?
A template?
Yeah, sort of like what you've done there. Is that
Yeah.
a brief template and you go,
No.
you sort of have to do it straight from scratch?
Yeah, you can do, or you can copy it from an old site, or yeah. This kind of.
That's actually a good question because that's what a lot of people are doing. You could take a site, and sort of whip that whole. Because on any site, if you go control and view, you can usually see the.
Yeah.
That's the next thing I like to do is pick, maybe go to DVO Live site and control and view, and you'll see that this view of it, the site you're on, you'll see it represented as that. And it's an interesting process because you can see sort of what the code looks like and start to pick out some bits.
Because our site's a WordPress site, it'll be a bit different.
True, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But if you go to a typical website, and then you'll start to see, here I can see, first of all, top line, what sort of doc it is, and then with information about any images. Where's the, yeah, the source, where it came from, what it's called, and after a while you'll start to sort of be able to read it, And in Dreamweaver, you have a split view when you're constructing. You can have your source code on one side, and then what it actually graphically looks like, what you're actually doing on the other side. It's quite nice. Sort of split up down the middle, very much like that actually. Yeah, any other questions?
Not so.
But yeah, that thing you're talking about, the sort of whipping of sites, that's a big thing now. That's
Well, he's talking about like if he was to go and make his own site, whether he'd need to like know all of this basically. Is that what you meant? Like,
Yeah, sort of like when I downloaded that program, would it be sort of set up slightly for me so I could once I in?
no, I think you can do stuff like that.
I think the more productive way is to sort of do what we've been doing, is maybe use WordPress and then maybe go in and change aspects. I mean, if you know like roughly what you're looking for, you can recognise it. Even if you don't totally understand it, you think, oh, that's the bit where, let's say this image is over here, up here.
That's why you can
this
use
side.
things like Firebug, and then you can.
Yeah, then you think, actually, I really want it over here. And if you look at where that crops up, and it was to go float right, and just put that in. I mean, you sort of try, you should just try it actually. That should move it across. Otherwise, there's something you kind of typed in properly. So that's the trick. Would you say?
Say again,
Or
sorry.
to sort of see what maybe what's a site that's you could whip if you want, or
Yeah.
partly create. Or a
Yeah.
template is partly there.
Yeah, there's loads of templates online.
But then maybe go and customise it slightly by just tweaking it ever so, because the main formatting will have been done for you, the fonts, you can even change that, but the main kind of layout, that might, that's all sort of, there the headings have been set up, you maybe just go in and change certain parts, because in a way, like we looked at this morning, websites are fairly generic, they have to, your heading at the top, don't you, your call to action, your main image. So that's Neil? No?
I have another question, but I think this is a bit of a compliment, but your presentation style has improved massively since we started.
Good
Yeah.
comment, yeah.
You feel so much more confident.
Yeah,
I concur.
true. Relaxed,
That's right.
engaging. Good, okay, thanks.
I don't know if it was actually useful though.
No, it was, I think it was,
I don't know.
wasn't it?
As long as people
Yeah,
understood it, like I would just.
No, you don't, you've got to remember
Rambling
with
on.
teaching, it's like, you could have thought to yourself, what do you want